This stuff, it'll done do put hair on your liver. That's for sure. That being said, now we got some work to do. I want you to see my little friend here. Actually, I have a little project I've been working on. It should be very useful in this project. I'll show you what it does and how it works. So what we're going to do here, we're going to enter this command. All right, this is using it's a downloader. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit YouTube's API in the bunghole, and we're going to really get in there, and we're going to pull out all the comments. Now what that's going to show us, this is not really worth explaining in detail here, so this is going to be a generalization. It's going to tap into that API, and it's going to pull out all the comments affiliated with that video on that channel. So we are going to see all the shadow banned comments, all those comments made by people such as me and all the other losers out there that have something nice to say that either get censored by YouTube or the channel operator. In this case, I think it's primarily, if not exclusively, only going to show us what the channel operator is responsible for. Now, that will include several of my comments. Now, brief explanation. I go to a channel, I leave a comment. Let's give you some visualization. People love visualizations. So right here, yonder, you can see, have a hand, that be me, and I'll be leaving some comments. Now, neither one of these comments show up. 21 hours ago, it says here, and probably 22 by now, no upvotes, no replies. Well, you know, when you make a heavy-duty kind of comment and there aren't any replies, that's a good sign that you've been shadow banned, or alternatively, they're using the hold for moderation option in the back end, and those comments are suspended in Nowhereville, as mine are. So if you open up another browser, these comments are not visible. So that is what the public sees. That's what you would see. It's what anyone else would see. What you're looking at here is what I see, and only I see, other than maybe, you know, the DoD and such, which, you know, can do all sorts of magical stuff. But for normal human beings, only I can see this. And so my two comments are pinned to the top, even though they have 0 views, but they're invisible to everyone else. So this gives the false impression that, yeah, I've commented, they're showing, I'll just go ahead and run along now. Yeah, well, I'm not going to let that happen, because too many of these guys are doing it, and I will have an extended series of exposés on those who do and those who don't do this. I can tell you right now, Valhalla VFT does not do that. He's one of the most surprisingly respectable people out there. You know, big tough dude, smart guy working on his master's degree, does firearms training. He's been analyzing the Kirk situation. I'm often let down. When I start admiring someone, that's almost always a sign that I'm being a fool. But I admire the guy. There are exceptions. Now this guy, Jesse on Fire, scumbag and a quagmire, I don't know. I'm not going to criticize this guy yet. I don't know what's really happening. There could be other reasons. But he's not letting my comments come through on this one and other one. There's also Zach Costello, maybe not such a Christian fellow. He's not letting my comments come through either. But you're wondering right now, what's all this shit talking? Where's the proof? The proof is in the pudding, and I will show you a bowl of pudding. Now that we've had all those fun visualizations, which so many people seem to need these days, as verbal explanations are often inadequate, I'm going to press the trigger on this. What this will do is it will reach into the back API, and it will start pulling out all those comments. This is not very useful to me because it only shows me what I see. Yeah, but I have to manually scroll through all the comments to see this. However, that's not entirely true. I think, if I'm not wrong, this will show me some things that normally I don't have access to, and that will be all the other shadow banned comments. That's pretty cool, I think. Now, I'm not sure if I've got that kind of window. We'll see. This is the first time I've done this. So it's working, it's running, you can see. It's, let me go ahead and maximize this. You can see some of the stuff running in the background. Now it's scraping the hell out of that channel. And I forget which one this is. Is this the, let me go see here, that was an R. Oh man, my vision is bad. RYI is the end of the URL. RY, yeah, so it's this one, it's Jesse on Fire. That's bigger and fatter. And that's got, okay, back here. We are dealing with 2,600 something odd comments. It's going to take it a few minutes. Now this whole process is going to take a few minutes. I don't know what else to do. There are smart people out there and they know how to do this stuff with optimal optimization. I'm not one of them. I'm just this guy here who's trying his best. And I really have put in some effort into this, so I hope you appreciate it. Let me dazzle you with some interesting dialogue and speculation whilst this proceeds. What is the meaning of this? If you got this far and you're going, what's this moron talking about? I totally understand. I look at myself on the camera and I think, huh, man, if I could only hit that guy, how good it would feel. But this is a possible window right here. Now think about what I can do with this. I can go hunting every fake scumbag on YouTube. I'm particularly mad at these fake Christian guys. These Christian guys that say, ooh, I'm doing good things. I'm all about truth, and I'm going to get to the bottom of these things. I'm going to help you. I'm a good guy. You subscribe to me. I'm a good guy. I treat you very, very good. And then you leave a comment that's really insightful, that's kind, and nothing. That annoys me. So I can make a whole entire hobby of hunting these fake bastards, and I can show everyone everything they're hiding. Now, if you don't believe that, stick around. What you're looking at in the background is the work in progress. It's happening as I speak. So the other thing I can do is this will help distinguish the variety of censorship that is taking place. And speaking of taking place, this is taking longer than I realized, longer than anticipated. But it gives us time to have nice fuzzy conversations. So, where am I here? Yes, there is a tremendous amount that can be exposed with this. I can show you the ratio with channels. Say I take a sample of 100 different big personalities on YouTube. I can show you the discrepancies down to the single number at the time and date that I do the sample. Things change. But this is still very insightful. I can show you to the number what the invisible comment ratio is. How aggressively are they disappearing, these comments? And then I can statistically analyze it. I can show you, I can even make a graph that shows you an integrity meter. You can see these guys way on the top of the hill, and some people such as Sean Ryan, who are way down in the deepest valley canyon, beneath even the soil. I mean, probably even getting really close to the furnace of hell with their censorship and narrative engineering. Why is this a problem? Again, you must realize that YouTube is the world's foremost media platform. Tremendous amount of things occurring, extremely powerful. Many people are, they're busy, they're lazy, they don't know any better, or they specifically want to do things that way, but they go to YouTube for a lot of their information. To have discourse on something, they leave a comment, they get replies. Well, there are a whole bunch of people who are pretty normal, and they leave their replies, and a lot of those probably tend to go through smoothly, but then you have all of these others who are maybe a bit more serious, a bit more informed, all sorts of things. They leave their comments and it doesn't fit that profile, either of the black box YouTube site censorship or the personality that you're contributing to their living. You know, they're monetized and they're making money. I am not monetized. I never will be. If I'm monetized, you can find me and you can come and poke me in the eye or something, because that's not going to happen. There are lots of reasons why that won't happen. One of them is time and mortality and all of that. But this is big. So you can go, you can find what's this hidden reality behind the scenes. When the discourse and dialogue is manipulated and people aren't thinking about it. So you might think, well, yeah, duh, that's happening. The fact is many people are not considering this. They're going about their daily activities, commenting, reading comments, and many of them just don't have that on their mind. They're not pausing to reflect on the implications of this. They're not stopping to think, wow, this whole thing might be an artificial representation of reality. What impacts could that have on others and me? What is it doing to me? My golly gee, what is it doing to ye? And all sorts of other things. This is profound stuff. A lot of people are uncomfortable with profound considerations. They want to trivialize and dismiss things. I guess that can feel good. I can see, it can make you think that you're substantial, even though you're contributing absolutely nothing but carbon dioxide or worse with your foul breath and your malodorous worthlessness. I'm kidding. But yeah, we've got issues. And the world's foremost platform, it has become an appendage of ourselves. And just as you take a shower, you wash things, you take care of them, you don't abuse them, you don't strangle them, well, on occasion, but you take care of them, and that's kind of what YouTube is. It's an appendage of our collective selves. It's not being taken care of, it's being controlled by someone else. And I don't think that's good. And I really do think that a righteous finger can be pointed at all of these influencers. They have the luxury, one, of being able to make a living because they're gifted, or with their personality, their face, their intelligence, whatever attribute it may be, that's salesworthy. That's a hell of a thing to have. Think about all the people out there working at, Mick whatever, or, cleaning a grease pit for a living, or working out there in the summer or desert sun and just getting beaten to death and looking as if they're 60 by the time they're 20. It's a harsh reality out there. There are so many people working their asses off because they love their children, or they're just afraid of dying and they're trying to survive. It's a serious world, man. It's a very serious world. We've got actual people out there who aren't ourselves. And to take that for granted when you can make a living being creative, that's the dream of so many who will never have that dream. And yet, they still don't have the integrity or the spirit to say, I'm going to do my best with this opportunity I have, this power that I have. I'm going to do my best, and I am going to, I'm going to try to be a window for truth. I understand there are going to be special exceptions. If your channel is strictly about cooking, people come in and they start talking about physics or conspiracies, you might want to wipe that clean. But the examples I've shown you, and that I will show you, there will be no excuse. Their subject is investigative. It's on that very subject, and they're very meticulously selecting what is visible and what is not. And that's a problem. If I'm going to Martha Stewart's Friday fish fry channel and I start talking about underground canyons and aliens on the moon, I expect that they might just make me kind of invisible. That's not what I'm talking about. So you've got to set your values. You have to see this in perspective, and holy shit, is this taking a long time. Wow, this is big. So I am not a smart person. You may have deduced that. You may have yet to. Regardless, that is the truth. And I don't know how to optimize this for greater speed. All of the research I've done requires bowing to YouTube and Google and doing things I'm not willing to do to get the elite access to some of this shit, and I haven't gone that route, so I'm doing things the hard way. With open source Linux, open source software, you may not even know what that means. It's a good thing. It has nothing to do with communism. If you think that open source implies that, you're mistaken. Yeah, there are lots of people who are very, what should I say? They're very triggered. They're basically they're a puppet begging for strings. They have triggered thoughts. If you say a word, you can predict what they'll think. That's sad. But in truth and reality, there are elements of communism that are perfectly useful and good in a capitalistic free society. There are elements of capitalism and free society that are perfectly good in a communist society. Things don't work in these convenient compartments. Not everything is bad and everything is good. But the whole concept that sharing and doing work for free, I'm a big proponent of volunteering. I am an absolute opponent of any power source telling me that I have to, or telling you that you have to volunteer, that they're going to redistribute your wealth. I love wealth redistribution if it's voluntary. If you want to go give your money away to poor people, to suffering people, I say, bless you indeed. If someone tells you you have to, I'll stand by your side and we'll defend ourselves. I'll defend you. But I am all for volunteering, free stuff, good quality stuff, and not monetizing every attribute of life. I want to at least take every other breath without paying for it. I want to be able to read every other page of a book without having someone rip out my eyeballs to stuff in an advertisement. That's the reality I want. I want more kindness. We've completed. End of rant. That was getting interesting too. Well, anyway, business is business. So now that we have done that, watch me become quite confused. All right. Fuck. Oh boy. Oh boy, I don't know. I don't know which one is which anymore. I've become confused. I'm going to go with this. All right, so we have okay, so these are the things I have to do. You're not going to know what the hell I'm doing. I'm doing things for convenience. I have very bad vision. It's super fucking annoying to have to focus on this stuff because I can barely see it with my glasses on, and yet I'm not blind. Okay, so what was I doing? Yes, I know what I was doing. I was taking a shortcut. I'm going to make this little guy go away here. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I'll leave him up. I've had this thing, OBS, betray me in the past. It's slick. It can get you when you least expect it. Alright, so now what I need to do is so I'm in a virtual environment. If you want to know what I'm doing, I am using Python programming language with Selenium. And I'm using that in a VNB. I hate the whole concept that Linux has become such a mess that to use the fucking software that's available, you have to crawl into this little safe environment because of all of these little issues with version control, and it seems really stupid to me, but I am not a developer. I'm pretty ignorant. I despise it. It annoys me, but it's useful, and if you learn how to just capitulate and go along with it, it's very useful. But that's what I'm doing right now. I'm in this thing called a virtual environment, and we won't go any further into that. Okay, so what I have to do now, I have to go get that, oh man, it's so difficult to see everything. I've got these bifocals here, and every time I see something, I have to crank my neck to see it. All right, paste. So the next thing it's going to ask me for, I already know that, it's going to be, what's going on here? Forgive me, I need more of this high gravity hurricane stuff. Shite, man. Oh, dude, I've just had a complete lapse of cognition. There it is, yep. It really helps when you can see shit. I have bigger glasses that just magnify the fuck out of everything, but then it makes me dizzy. Okay. I needed that name. You'll see why in just a moment. Okay. Enter. Now, so what it's doing right now is it's asking me for the JSON file. I don't know how to pronounce that. JSON file. It's JSON. And I have to give it a file path. So it knows what it's going to do is it's going to take all the shit it scraped from the previous script, which pulled everything out of the API. That's all the comments, every single one of them. We don't really want to see those because that doesn't help. We want to see what everyone sees. So now what we're going to do is tell the script to compare all the files to another file, which is the file that shows only what people see. The other one is what actually is there and what they don't see, plus all the other stuff. And then we're going to get some numbers. Oh boy, what's we doing here? Paste. Paste. That's a nice word, isn't it? Paste. Okay, so what this is supposedly doing right now, and it may not be, because I think I might have had my scripts messed up. If it isn't, I'll just have to cut this out and redo it. But right now, what you're seeing is this, it's a scripted thing. It is an automated function that goes to this dingus's channel, and it manually scrolls. Now there's all sorts of code surrounding this that tells it the timeout and how aggressively to scroll and how long to wait. There's a balance there, which I think has been achieved, and now it's manually scrolling. And the way YouTube works is that the shit swap in the background, when you scroll, it doesn't just load all the comments. You have to scroll to the bottom, and then it loads. And then, all this slimy, intimate interaction between your browser and the website and your activities, it communicates and it knows that you're at the bottom of the screen, so it spits out more comments. It doesn't just want to give you the whole thing. It doesn't make that easy. So that's what this is doing. It's fighting that, keeps going to the bottom, keeps pulling the comments, pulling them, and also it's exploring all of the nested comments. So the difference is you have a standalone comment. I go to the channel, I make my own comment. It's not a response or reply to anyone, it's my own comment. Well, that's a standalone comment. What this is doing is it's going into the nested comments. A nested comment is I make my standalone comment, you come by and tell me how brilliant it is or how stupid it is, why I'm wrong, why I'm right. That's a nested comment, and someone else comes in and tells you why you're what you are, etc., etc. Now, that's a lot of stuff, and it's going through every one of those, and it's making a record. So then in the end, what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to open up that JSON file, and I'll be able to search for anything I want. I can say, well, let's see if you're in there. This is a problem. It's snagged. Well, I may have bungled that. We'll see. What was I saying? Yeah, so, what the hell was I saying? More category 5. Now, when we had that big hurricane here in Florida, yes, I'm in Florida, people were borked. Bad situation. These guys, I don't advertise, but this company, some people criticize them for it. I thought it was the coolest, one of the cooler things I've ever heard. Well, all these people were without power, some of them without homes, because we had a lot of tornadoes and they just obliterated things. Bad situation, people really needing something. So these guys came in with a big truck, unloaded cases, and just gave lots of this stuff away. Now, if you're some milquetoast teetotaler, you're going to say, oh, that's bad, they're giving away beer. Well, that's a bit extreme. The situation sucked, and they weren't forcing it on people. They weren't unloading the truck and forcing people to drink beer. They were giving it away. They were offering it. I think that is bucolic. No, bucacious. Beautiful. All right, here. So let's see what the terminal output was, because that gives us a lot of clues. And guess what? I think I got the wrong one. I'm going to change my glasses for a moment so I can actually see. Ooh, I wish you could see through my eyes for a moment. You wouldn't see much. Alright, so, and there's a wizzy. Visible comments scraped, 966. These are important numbers. Total comments in YouTube download dump, 2,667. Comments present, but not visible. Holy shit. So out of 2,667 comments, 18 1,812 of them are not visible. That's a lot of comments. Now, that would have to be a separate session, which would be very interesting to me, and probably to anyone who stuck around this far. That would be interesting to explore the content of those comments and see just what it is someone doesn't want people to be reading. But that's 1,800 of them buggers. That's a lot. Crapoly. So what do we do next? Well, this is where it gets fun, and we go, all right, we got 3 freaking megabits, bytes. Byte. Now there is a difference between a bit and a byte. A bit is a single bit, a byte is 8 bits. Okay. Now what we're doing here is we're in a text editor, and we are going to, wow man, that's a lot. That's a big fat file. Okay, so this is cool because I can just use the Control F function. Now, for those of you who are 10 years old and such, you probably don't know about Control F because you've never seen a desktop computer. You use these touchy-feely things which completely emasculate your ability to do anything useful. But anyway, a long time ago we had these things called desktop computers. That's what I'm using here. Okay, so look at that. I'm searching for myself. Now you can go right now if you want to. This won't change, trust me, unless this guy gets scared. And you'll probably see this video long before this guy does. These are the 2 comments I have right here. Now, this guy, when I first saw this guy's video, I thought, wow, this guy's really amazing. He's brave, he's on fire. Jesse on fire. But then I started watching other videos, and it was circular. It's always the same kind of shit. Then I started noticing, man, he's focusing on a lot of distractions. A lot of the really low-quality garbage that comes out. You know, Charlie Kirk was really abducted by aliens. The hole on his neck was some kind of, extragalactal vagina, and, he teleported through it, and the trapdoor, and security guys. Lots of weird shit that doesn't really deserve attention. So this guy will go down some of those rabbit holes in a way that annoys me. So I question the sincerity of it. So he does this video, and I pointed out, well, I've seen this other video that's really sober. It's original raw footage of a dude who was not involved in even speculating on things. He was just recording. And I think that same clip of this dude walking around on the roof is from that. That was law enforcement. And now they're saying it's maybe this guy. So I just come in here, I say this. By now you've read it, you can pause, you can read it. And that doesn't get through. And then there's another comment that I left which for some reason did not get pinned. It's not visible, but it's way down there at the bottom. I don't understand that. I don't have the answer for that. But I'm trying to give you perspective on this. Now, this shows me these hidden comments. But it's not showing me the content. Okay, so let's see. Next. Next. I wonder if it's not showing me the content. Okay, how many instances? Can you tell me that? How many have been found? Shite. Sorry about this, man. I'm not super efficient. I need to view the message window, which was. You guys see anything that says message window? There it is. Alright. So this, without taking up the whole screen, should show me how many occurrences there are. In document. 8 matches. Okay, so that means I can click next 8 times before I start recycling, and this is not showing me any of the content. It is showing me all of this other data, the timestamp ID. I can't even make sense of that. Is it pinned, false? It's giving me all these metrics, this metadata, if you want to call it that. Oh yes, it does show me the comment. Wow, it's right up here. So I did make an obnoxious comment, a politician, and you won't understand that without the context. Okay. Next one. Yeah, so it is actually showing. That's really cool. So here I am pointing out aspects of why this might be a waste of time. Now, if you heard that, that's a pretty good impetus for making my comment disappear. If your whole operation is not really based on finding answers and finding the truth, but rather just creating an endless Ouroboros of speculation and getting nowhere, which is, it's a suspicion I have. Now, that was showing all the hidden comments. We could explore that and see all the other comments. I mean, this is my dream come true. I didn't think it would do this, but this is showing me 1.3 megabytes of shit that's been hidden. That's a lot for a text file. You know, write a small book, and it might not be 1 megabyte. Now, the visible comments. Ooh, there is obviously a problem here. No, okay. Yeah, so there's a little issue with Genie, bad programming. This is a text editor I use, or an IDE, you know, interactive development environment or something. And this message window, it just foists it. It covers everything to give you this tiny little message. I've tried to edit that in the configuration files, doesn't work. But let's go ahead and Control F here. I know there's a dude who, I already remember his name, who definitely appears. So I can type in his, yeah, exactly, it's Poopa Schlurp. So this is just something I've become familiar with because I know he's there, and this verifies that, you know, that's one dude I know who made comments. I thought there was more than one. Now, there could be some imperfections in this, and you know, I'll discover I'll discover them as I go along. This is me sharing with you, you know, celebrating that I'm a pretty good, strong step into some potentially heavy duty shit. Exposing a lot of people who probably would prefer that didn't happen. But, you know, these are all the comments that have been posted. Now, I'm going to have some debugging to do. But this is big, right? So looky here. I'm going to grab this scroll bar. I'm going to go way down. And I'm skeptical. Well, look, that's 3,000 lines. Yeah, I mean, those numbers over here represent the line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And, you know, there's a lot of fluff taking up space. But yeah, that's probably everything that's visible. But I don't have an easy means of verifying that. There's one other file here. This is it. Look at the discrepancy. 1.3 here compared to 1.9. If you add in the kilobytes, that still doesn't make... Yes, it does. 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe not. Well, there is a small discrepancy here. I'll have to investigate that. But anyway, for now, let me do type so I can see all these JSONs. Okay, visible, hidden. So this is just all the comments. And this stupid window keeps appearing. Let's do Control F. So we go Control F, H-A-V-A. Yep. So this, let me explain to you the differences in case we're not on the same page. I'm going to get out of that. This is everything. That's the hidden comments and the visible comments. This here is only the hidden comments. That's huge. Something seems to be really wrong here. And yes, this could be user error because I'm dealing with stuff that's a little bit above my head now, presently. But the visible comments compared to the hidden comments, that's a huge discrepancy. There are far more hidden comments than there are, by a large margin. You have far more hidden comments than there are visible comments. Now, that's 2.3. Yeah, that's the JSON that was originally generated. That's the one that we used to compare. That's the YouTube downloader. JSON that we compare with the Selenium script output. And then when we look at the terminal at the very end, it gives us some nice convenient output numbers. So without even going into those files, we can get a pretty good idea right here. So there's little more to say. I think right now I'll start to rant again, and then I can just cut that out if it doesn't go well. Again, why is this important? Because we have a universal global platform in a world that, if you haven't noticed, is kind of on the precipice of bad shit. A lot of us fail to remember on a daily basis, which we should, that there is something that would qualify as satanic. I mean, it's awful, unspeakable shit happening in Ukraine. It's not the only place on earth. And then if you're not afraid to consider what's happening in Gaza, Palestine, and then if you're not so blind as to fail to see that we have problems right here at home. We have these divisions. The mainstream narrative is that extreme leftism, unless you listen to the extreme leftism, they'll tell you Tyler was an extreme right guy. But that's not important. We have obvious indications in the mainstream media, independent media, and in your own mind. Any healthy person realizes we have a lot of tension. We have a lot of problems. We have an extreme amount of volatility socially. We have people who are extremely pissed off at one another. We have one of the big mainstream divides, left versus right. We have the in-betweens. They get a lot of problems too. You come in between two sources, one's hard right, one's hard left, and you speak reason, you're going to get your head cut off. Let me show you an example of that. You may have seen this already, but this guy. So the future title for this will be Zach Costello. Is he really such a Christian fellow? Sounds catchy, but that's an honest question. Because this guy is Kamala hairless chicken. Kamala Harris. I can't stand her. I have always viewed her, when I imagine her, I just imagine a trash bag with a hole in it. I don't hate her. But recently she said something, and I'm looking at that thinking, ooh, okay, if you can speak that way on a regular basis, I think I'll completely have to change my view. On Columbus Day, she gave a speech that was reminding people, this is a holiday, yes, but there is an objectively verifiable, true, dark aspect of Columbus and the shit that he did, and the whole entire Native American situation. If you are so hard on one side that you cannot realize the shit that was done to the Native Americans, that is what I would call intractable. Then why are you here? If you're not hearing what you want to hear, you're going to shut it off. So why? Why even bother? Just get a mirror and look into that 24 hours a day. But you're looking at a guy right now that just has no doubt that bad things happen to the Native Americans. That's, to me, it's one of the most important things in this world. I don't do anything in Florida without them somewhere in my subconscious field of view. They roam this land from the Timucuans to the Calusa, on and on and on. They were here for a long time. Very fascinating history there. And we came in, or not we, but others came in and really, really left a profound effect on that. And so the Kamala makes a speech, and I listen to it and I think, yeah, you got some valid points there. And this Costello, not such a real true Christian fellow, criticizes her for it. That's one of the big parts of this video. Let me get you the full view. And I thought, well, that's a bunch of nonsense. Let me come in here and not be an asshole and let me just leave a comment. So I write, As one who leans right, values the Republican Constitution, but has always struggled to tolerate the sight of Harris, I find this difficult to make sense of. You present yourself as a Christian, as well as honest, sincere, and willfully accepting of truth. Can you not suspend your bias and agenda for one simple exception? With all my contempt for Harris and similar deception machines, is the reality of Columbus something so easily dismissed or denied? Can someone you despise, someone who compulsively lies, can they not be right about anything? Would you stand on your head because she said north was really south? I have never seen a version of history that would suggest Columbus was in any way what I would call a Christian, or even on a generous day, unless you believe Christianity is defined by following the rules of kings above the rules of spirit. I think you are forgetting the fundamentals, which are of kindness, humility, and not doing flagrantly sinister things. If you can imagine Columbus in proximity of Jesus without a tussle, you are deluded. Have some pity and give a full credit for speaking a single sentence of truth in their life of lies. Well, yes, it's a heavy comment, but if you want to look through this and see the abusive shit that's come through, here we'll go. That's what I'm here for. If you've stayed around, look at this. Well, she's full of it. Yeah, happy Columbus Day. Gruesome Newsom, what a liar. That's really intelligent. I mean, you could... Just big, fat, giant book with just that. You open up this big book, gold leaf binding. Gruesome Newsom, what a liar. I'd pay for that. Pulitzer Prize, for sure. I mean, these are brilliant. These comments that come to the top, they're ingenious. So, naturally the stupid people float to the bottom, and, wait, that's not what happens. So, it's all a bunch of garbage, and a lot of shit criticizing Kamala. That's easy to do, one of the reasons I don't do it. My God, why do you even mention Kamala? I would suggest you move past her. Fuck. Oh, let's get this. Let's get this. Where did it go? He is a hater, so true. Okay, I thought that said something about hating Kamala. Those are great examples to point out because YouTube loves that stuff. When you say you hate someone, someone's this or that, that's the kind of stuff that survives. You come in and you say something nice and it disappears. Okay. So, you can see right here that the word killing is not an unconditional trigger. It does have context recognition on the YouTube side, but some people are afraid of even using that term. I can show you many instances. There's no easy way to evaluate the black box algorithm that YouTube is using. It's weird, it's irrational. I can show you some really spooky stuff. She is an idiot. She is shameful to the USA. The USA, if I can remind you, before it was the United States of America, and thank God it is, because of the Republican Constitution, but before it was Native American. Where'd they go? When's the last time you saw yourself a Native American? I mean, hell, we've got a couple of reservations here in Florida. Have you ever been to one? Now, that's a pretty big contrast to owning the whole dang continent. In harmony, I mean, they fought, yeah, there were bad things. People think, well, the Indians, they weren't perfect. That's why we genocided them. That makes sense. Sure, yeah, they're imperfect. Just don't take a look at yourselves. If we go, geez, let's look at America. We're not perfect. Oopsie, we got a problem there. Well, a lot of people use that logic. Native Americans, they had flaws. They fought each other. They weren't perfect. We did a good job. That's not me. Man, they're gone, and I wish they weren't, but they're gone. So when Trashbag Kamala, hairless, comes out and says something that's makes sense, I am not so diseased that I'm going to say, she's wrong. No, you shouldn't either. And I'm telling you, if you want a chance in hell, at any future, for your children, for anyone, you can't do that. You can't do that. We've got to have some kind of consciousness, conscience, intelligence. We can't keep doing this. Look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. Look at the value of the dollar. You think it's just inflation, shrinkflation? Look at the commodities, look at metals. Look at the value of the dollar. Look what's happening. The hegemony of the US dollar, the petrodollar, the reserve currency. That's just one. Trillions of dollars of debt. The brink of war. These extrajudicial killings, unprecedented in history. What only a few years ago would have been a covert top-secret CIA operation is now just some cavalier, yeah, we blew up the boat, we killed a bunch of guys. You could get a group of these special forces guys, you could inject them with drugs, you could tie their hands behind their backs, and you could blindfold them. And you say, take that boat, do a good job, preserve the contents, do a good job. They'd do it. Fucking blindfolded. So instead we just blow it up. We lose the boat. We could sell back those resources to the pharmaceutical companies as raw chemicals, who knows what. But the fact is that it's extrajudicial. There's been no judicial process. They just fucking bombed them, blew up the boats. I'm not crying because of the narco guys that died. Maybe I would if I knew more about them. Maybe I'd say, man, I'm actually glad they did. I don't know, but you don't do that. It sets a precedent. It causes big problems. Wait and see what happens because of that. It's never happened in history. That was always classified kind of shit. They've done it, but they didn't boast it. This is new. When you do that, it sets a precedent for the next guy. So when the next leftist administration comes in, they're going to look at that and they're going to say, hey, they did it, so we can. That is how things work. But it's not just that. It's a lot of stuff, man. The volatility is extreme. So you look at me and you think, well, just some dumbass drinking weird lager, putting hair on his liver and making a big deal out of censorship. That's a vital organ in the organism of our society. If that becomes overly corrupted, we will too in some ways. This is serious, serious, serious. All the things you've worried about that maybe you band-aid with a bias here and there. Look at them again. You know you're worried about things. You know that you're aware that there are problems. And you're also aware that you only know a small fraction of those problems. So, yeah, man, we're sitting on a powder keg here. And it's going to take every individual working on themselves. It's not going to be a band-aid solution from authoritarian A, authoritarian B, banning social media, banning this, arresting that guy for exercising his First Amendment, applauding this guy for exercising his, cherry-picking the Constitution, allowing authority figures to control every aspect of our... No. It will take every individual literally evolving, if you're not afraid of that term. If you are, just becoming more conscious, aware, but foremost trying to be kind. One of the main reasons I love this guy known as Jesus, it's because of the kindness. It's because of the humility. It's because of the fearless will to embrace truth above desire and fear. That's something that anyone can do. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be talented. You don't have to be anything. If you can think and you can listen to this, you can do that. And that's what we have to do. It's the only possible way. Anything else is going to fail.